name is Isam Crispin Azhar. So today I will talk about Affin Bank Berhad. Affin Bank Berhad is the financial holding company of Affin Islamic Bank Berhad. It also offers a comprehensive range of Sharia compliant Islamic banking products and services. Affin Bank Berhad also has a network of 111 branches in Malaysia as of June 30, 2021.
The bank that we have chosen is RHB Bank Berhad. It is a public limited company on August 24, 1994 under the name DCB Holdings Berhad. It is Malaysia's fourth biggest fully integrated financial services firm. RHB has a presence in 9 Asian countries and employs over 14,000 people across the group.
Hi, I'm Cik Amira Alia. I will explain a brief introduction for AmBank Group. AmBank Group is a leading financial institution with more than decades. They hire almost 9,000 individuals and serve over 3 million clients. AmBank Group is also the most well-known brand with 175 stores across Malaysia. Next, I will explain about market and investment performance for Affin Bank, AmBank, and RHB Bank for the 5 years financial year. Okay, first, earnings per share. Affin Bank Berhad, AmBank Group, and RHB Bank Berhad have average earnings per share of 22.985, 53.939, and 52.464 respectively. Based on the average of earnings per share for the 5 years, RHB Bank Berhad was selected as the benchmark. It is because it has the highest earnings per share bought by the shareholders of the company with earning of 52.464 cents at the end of the financial year, compared to 22.985 cents and 53.939 cents at the end of the financial year for Affin Bank and AmBank Group accordingly. Next, for the price earnings, as a result of benchmarking, investors should choose AmBank Group and RHB Bank Berhad for quick earnings since they have the smallest price earnings ratio. It's because we can look for the past 5 years, the AmBank and RHB Bank has maintained their price earnings ratio about 10% only, compared to Affin Bank, which is under 20% within these 5 years. Lastly, their return on investment. As a result for benchmark test, a shareholder should choose RHB Bank Berhad in order to earn a higher return on investment ratio amounting from 30 to 80% over the 5 years, and the investment consumers also continue to pay off even if they are already using their assets less efficiently year after year. However, investors will also choose AmBank Group and Affin Bank Berhad, which forecast strong potential growth and then in the temporary due to their constant ratio over time.
Next, profitability ratio. We have chosen 3 types of ratio, which is return on equity, operating margin, and return on asset. Firstly, return on equity. ROE is widely used by shareholders of a firm to calculate the return on investment. It is the percentage of a company's income that is returned to shareholders as equity. Historically, the average ROE has been approximately 10% to 12% at least. ROE of greater than 12 to 15% are deemed optimal for long-term economic stability. Hence, RHB Bank Berhad is chosen for the benchmark. This is because it shows a stable ROE in 5 years analysis, which is in range of 8.172% to 13.534% compared to Affin Bank Berhad and AmBank Group that are unstable with ROE approaching 3.011% to 31.284%. The next one is operating margin profit. The operating profit margin ratio is an important metric for investors and creditors to understand how firms sustain their operations. When a company's activities generate enough revenue to sustain the firm, it is deemed more stable. A larger operating margin is preferable to a smaller ratio since it demonstrates that firm is producing enough money from continuous operations to cover both variable and fixed costs. Hence, with the highest operating margin ratio of 48.564% in 2019, with 5 years analysis conducted, RHB Bank is chosen to be the benchmark. Compared to the other firms, Affin Bank Berhad and AmBank Berhad, they both only have 33.773% and 28.502% as the highest value. Lastly, return on asset ratio. An ROA of 5% or above is regarded good, while an ROA of 20% or more is considered excellent. The greater the ROA in general, the more efficient the firm is at creating profits. ROA of any one firm must be seen in the context of its competitors in the same industry and sector. In this case, the competitors will be banking sector. Hence, AmBank Group will be chosen as the benchmark as it has a consistent ROA above than 5% throughout the 5 years analysis. Affin Bank Berhad and RHB Bank Berhad showed a poor ROA of less than 2% in 5 years.
Hi, my name is Ayuna Jura. My matrix number is 69181. Today I would like to explain about the efficiency that our company used to compare for the benchmarking of our bank that we chosen. We have chosen Affin Bank, AmBank, and RHB Bank. This ratio used to compare the company revenue to the value of its asset. It can use to measure how effectively the company use its asset to generate the revenue. So as you can see that our graph was prepared, and obviously AmBank was chosen for our benchmarking because it was the highest ratio compared to the all bank. The ratio for a corporation with a larger asset, such as bank, it is mostly lower because they have lower revenue, larger asset. As a result, a total turnover asset with a value of 0.25 to 0.5 is regarded excellent. For example, for 2016 to 2020, two banks, which is Affin Bank and AmBank, both report diminishing asset turnover, whereas RHB Bank showed a considerable growth from 2016 to 2020. However, when the three banks were evaluated, AmBank was picked as the benchmark. As I said before, this is due to the fact that it has a greatest ratio in the 5 years examination when compared to the old bank that we choose. For efficiency, a higher ratio is preferable since it demonstrates its company ability to generate value or revenue from its asset base. If a company ratio is low, it's shown that the company isn't successfully using its asset to generate revenue. However, there are solutions to raise the ratio, which is by stacking itself with a high sellable item, the company can increase the ratio.
Okay, now I will talk about the capital structure of these three banks, which is Affin Bank, AmBank, and RHB Bank. Firstly, for a debt ratio that lower than 0.5 is considered as good because it's mostly financing through equity than debt, and the company with lower ratio of liability to assets are deemed as a low leverage, and lender view them as a low risk. So, AmBank will be chosen as this benchmark because it has a consistent and lower debt ratio, which is less 0.5 compared to the other bank, which is Affin Bank and RHB Bank, which their debt ratio is more than 0.5 from year 2016 to 2020. For debt to equity ratio, A debt to equity ratio when less than 1.0 is considered as a good business. It is because they have an ability of shareholder equity to pay down all their outstanding debt and has a less risk of bankruptcy. Thus, AmBank will be chosen as the benchmark for this ratio because it has a consistent and lower debt to equity, which is less than 1.0 compared to the other two banks, which is Affin Bank and RHB Bank, with their debt ratio is more than 1.0 from year 2016 to 2020. So the investor will be invest more on the AmBank compared to the other two banks because it has a less risky of bankruptcy.
Hi, my name is Azina binti Azmi and my matrix number is 69201. I want to present about corporate governance between three companies. The first company is RHB Bank Berhad. RHB Bank has 10 directors, which is Tan Sri Ahmad Badri Muhammad Zahir as non-independent and non-executive chairman. RHB Bank has embraced this approach to diversify its board of directors with 7 male and 3 female members. In this company, there have various people occupy the office of chairman and chief executive officer, which is Dato Karosale Ramli. It shows that RHB Bank follows corporate practice 1.3 in Malaysian Code of Corporate Governance to make these decisions effectively without outside interference. To pursue corporate governance effectiveness, each firm will have qualified secretary on board, which is Mr. Azman Shah as the company secretary. Lastly, the board of directors of this company develop, reviews, and implement whistleblower policies and procedures. It shows that the board of directors is dedicated to preventing misconduct in the company. Company is AmBank Group. The board of directors comprises 8 members. Tan Sri Azman Hashim is a chairman as non-independent and non-executive director. AmBank Group executive hold the office of chairman and CEO, which is Datuk Sulaiman bin Muhammad Tahir. It shows that the company has implemented good governance to achieve effectiveness and maintain its performance. Next, this company also has a qualified secretary to maintain its effectiveness based on the company secretary. AmBank Group has adopted the Malaysian Code of Corporate Governance to seek advice in making decisions that can improve its performance. Lastly, AmBank Group has established a whistleblower protection policy to encourage high ethical standards, open communication, and whistleblower protection. The third company is Affin Bank Berhad. Affin Bank Berhad has 10 directors on its board of directors. And yang berbahagia, Dato Agil Nat as a chairman and independent non-executive director. They also practice incumbents for chairman and CEO are different people because this position need to be segregated based on the tasks performed in the company. Lastly, this company also adopt a company secretary in achieving effectiveness in corporate governance. In conclusion, RHB Bank and AmBank selected as benchmarking. The result for benchmarking company is defined by the comparing with ratio and corporate governance. Therefore, our objectives have been achieved in performing to evaluate the effectiveness based on the benchmark between the three companies.